All right, 4:10. Excellent.
Okay. A little different, David.
Yeah, it's been a stressful past couple of days. So,
Hope you're okay.
yes. All right, is everyone here? I'm looking at the top. Looks like we have more people than normal. That's nice.
Everybody meet Rosanna. She's new to our staff.
Hi.
Oh, awesome. How are you?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Good.
And Porter's back.
Welcome back. It's like you never left.
Thank you.
A force of nature. I don't see Bethany, and I don't know what her schedule is, and I don't see Ruth.
Beth, she sent in the chat. I think she has work today. And Ruth, I think Monday through Friday she works until 5.
Okay. So maybe
So.
she'll pop in later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll fill her in with everything.
Yeah. Always the Zoom videos and things like that. I try to post them as quickly as possible. All right, David, do you want to go through what you got?
Yeah, sure. So basically, so this meeting, I guess we just want to kind of take a look at where we stand and kind of where we're going forward. So it seems like the general theme among everyone is that there's a lot to do, and with work or clubs that other people are in, or with just plain homework, it's difficult to try to keep up with all that. So what we've kind of been seeing is not as many stories have been coming up, but the most important thing is that you guys feel too stressed out, or you guys don't feel you have enough time to write a story. And we don't want that to be the case. We want to be producing, well thought out journalism, and we want you guys to feel like not rushed, not like you're doing it the night before. We don't want this club to start to negatively impact your studies. That's not what we want. So we Dr. T and I, we've been kind of brainstorming some ways that we can make that better for you. So, and actually, so this is going to be, we're going to have an open dialogue this meeting. So I know that I sent, in the chat, if you guys have any sort of suggestions about anything you want to change going forward, since this is kind of like a second start, since, we went a couple weeks, we kind of saw what worked, what didn't work, what we want to change, what we, want to keep the same. So if you guys have any suggestions, if you guys have any thoughts, if you guys, anything at all, now's the meeting to share what you feel, and we can go from there. So I know I have some things, some suggestions that I think we can do a bit differently, but what I think might work, Matthew might disagree or Catherine might disagree. So we want to make sure we come to an agreement that works for everyone.
I have an idea.
Excellent.
So I spent the weekend going over everything, and from everyone that I've talked to, it seems like the disorganization is kind of frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I don't know if anyone's used Dropbox before.
Mm-hmm.
Not Dropbox, Basecamp, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I made a Basecamp for us, and it's usually $99 a month, but I talked to customer service, and because we're students, we could actually have it for free our whole college career. Do you want to see what I did? I'll show you.
Sure, yeah, you can share your screen if you want.
All right, cool. Let me see. I have too many screens open. Yep, still looking. Sorry, guys. Here we go.
I can say I have used Basecamp before, and for the project I was doing, it seemed to work well. So.
Yeah, did you like it, Matthew?
Yeah, I did. That was it was a very different project, but I think it would work well.
So I wrote down some of the benefits. Like, just when you look at it, it's a really easy to use interface. Plus you can have it as an app on your phone or your iPad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's free with the student discount. And it also has calendar features that you can just sync with your phone. And it also will have notification of activity, especially for like editors and such. But so if you were to go to the headquarters, then I went ahead and I put all the learning modules in that everyone would have access to. It's the same information that is in D2L, but the difference is it's more accessible. I find D2L to be clunky, and half the time I don't get notifications. So I went ahead and, just like I said, just put everything together. I brought Kayla in because her and I have been talking, and you know, for us, for the photographers, and we just have everything in one place. And then I'll show you. So I just made up ideas just to have something in here. But let's see, for January, if we wanted to do stories, we can put stories here. And then let's see if you click it, then you can say, oh, well, this is, when we were making it, let's say Matthew, you were doing the story. You can actually put like, assign it to you, well, you know, because you've used it before. And then you could load your file here or in Staff Writers, wherever you want it. I just think it's a lot, like I said, a lot easier. And then you would know. Because I think that's kind of big.
Okay.
The disorganization's kind of overwhelming, I think, and no one really knows what they're doing. In terms of tasks, not that you don't know what you're doing in general. But I definitely thought, since that was free, it's something we could look at.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. You know, I think I speak for a lot of people. The biggest problem with docs was, or at least for me personally, I never really knew what stage of the writing process it was on. I didn't really know if stories were put in there. So I would just have to kind of go in, kind of look at it. Did it kind of look done?
Right.
So is there kind of like a way where we get a notification like, oh, you know, Porter added a story, or Matthew?
Absolutely.
There is.
So when you post, here, let me see. Do that one more time. If you post, let's say Staff Writers. So if you went in here and if there was or you want to upload your document, right? So you just new, upload, and then here we will do my picture because now see, it'll say, let me choose who to notify. So if I pick that, then I could put David, you know, notify David when this is put in. So, or whoever is in the editor at that point. But so when someone put that in, if they pick to notify you, you would get a ding on your phone if you had the app, and then it would go straight to that story. So you knew that it was new. So you're not having to search for it.
Okay. Excellent. Well, that's good. That's great. Okay. Yeah. And I know I had you guys this week just email them, but that's because I'm pretty sure we even have access to docs because Amanda was the one that made it. So this week we just used email, but Basecamp is definitely, yeah. I mean, let's try it. Let's use it, you know?
Cool.
That's good. Thank you so much, Porter, for bringing that to the group. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So I know, so Dr. T and I were talking about, you know, so aside from like submitting assignments, like a structure, you know, going forward, it just kind of seems like, you know, people might be kind of confused about their roles, who's writing, who's doing this. And a lot of it is just, you know, again, they don't have as much time. You know, like Rachel, I know that you said that, you know, you were working on this piece, but it was too research intensive. And we don't want you to be in a position where you're passing up, you know, good journalism simply because you don't have the time. And we understand that things happen, but we just want to try to enable people to have more time, you know, more resources available. So I had suggested, you know, to Dr. T, maybe something that we can start to look towards in the future. And that's simply just bringing more people on board. So eventually we can get to a structure where we have individual section editors for each of the broad categories that we write about, such as the news, you know, politics, arts and entertainment, sports, science, community life at HAC, the opinion section, and to actually make section editors for each one. So right now we have Bethany, who's the section editor, and we have Matthew, who's the opinion editor. I had suggested just expanding kind of that role to more people. And underneath of them, we would have a staff writer. Now, I don't know if we would have it, so a staff writer is tied to each category, or if a staff writer can move around depending on the topic that they like. Another position, so a new position that I had suggested is something called the website manager. And this person would be in charge of updating calendar events on the website, updating the breaking news banner. They would be in charge of mediating comments that people leave on stories. I know that we had talked about making a hack email got news where students can submit story suggestions. They would be in charge of forwarding the contents of that email to whichever section editor that applies to. So if it's like a sciencey topic, they would send it to the science section editor. And so how this would work is if we have staff writers and then we have the section editors, and then above that would be the managing editor and editor-in-chief, is the staff writers would be given an assignment. And so like if it's the inauguration, so they would be writing about the inauguration. They're going to have a section editor who's just helping that one staff writer throughout the week, whether it be doing research. So we could have it set up where we have two people giving resources and time and effort on a story, because it seems like, you know, one person doesn't have enough time to do a story. Also, what it could work out is if it's kind of a slow news week, nothing really too much is happening, we need a bit more fluff pieces, that section editor and the writer can both write a piece. So what could happen, what's bound to happen is we're going to have more stories coming up. People are going to be less stressed because there's simply going to be more time or people to, you know, to write a story. And these people that we would have for section editors, I guess they would kind of be like an expert. So we, like, they wouldn't necessarily, like, everyone here, like a lot of people don't really have experience in journalism. But if you have someone, you know, some type of science major, some type of, you know, political science major, they're going to find stuff to write about. They're going to find topics to write about, because at the end of the day, it's going to be the staff writer that's really tasked with writing with the guidance of a section editor. So the section editor is an expert, or at least has a broad understanding of the topic that's being written about. They're going to be able to, you know, guide the writer, you know, where to go. They're going to be able to help the writer with content. Because right now we have Bethany. Bethany's been fantastic, but it just kind of seems like, you know, if Bethany as the section editor is, you know, helping out with so many different categories, it's easy to, you know, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And Matthew, of course, you're the opinion editor, and you're in charge of writing op-eds. And, you know, like you had, you know, mentioned to me, sometimes time is just, you know, not in our favor. So those two kind of things, having, you know, website manager to, you know, because like right now we're kind of in a position of, well, who's going to be updating or uploading things to the website? Is it whoever just finds something and puts it up there on the website? So that was kind of our problem. So now if we have someone who's specifically in charge of managing that website, they can really become an expert in snow. If someone has a question about snow, they can reach out to them because they'll be, you know, in the best position to answer that.
I'm pretty, I did my snow training today, but I've been building WordPress websites for about 6 years.
Okay.
So if no one else is interested, I can definitely help with that.
Sure. Excellent. Well, we love that. Yeah. I mean, we love, you know, the enthusiasm for that. And of course, nothing's set in stone. It's just, you know, we're just kind of throwing out ideas for this, but, you know, thank you, Porter.
With your other idea, is that okay if I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not trying to dominate. I was just thinking, like what you were saying, have we thought about bringing on what, like you said, like, the section editor, but like we can reach out to political science, we can reach out to culinary. I know that Dr. T is like, I can't believe no one watches sports, so we could reach out to like the physical education, you know what I mean? Like, and there's some people that are in those that eventually will end up on the commentary side. So if someone's interested in that, we just put out a call to even the professors. Hey, can you mention this to your class? Like, yeah, you're in political science. This is a great experience to learn how to commentate on things, and that might help with that.
Yes. And I think, you know, that speaks to kind of a problem we were addressing last week, which is just trying to get our paper out there. Rachel had suggested the clever idea of just asking about it to the president of the college in his
Yeah.
Q&A thing he does. But if we can, get more people from the different, majors that hack offers, instead of, focusing more on just like the journalism people, because at the end of the day, everyone here is a college student. They're all here because they want to better themselves. And I mean, who doesn't want to say that they're, in some type of journalism club? Everyone's going to be looking for stuff to put on the resume, and it's a great way that people can get involved with their college,
I think
if they're
maybe
just
some
writing about it.
By the way, I did speak to all the department chairs. So, and we gave them ideas of assignments they could give their students for extra credits. So we kind of put that down.
I think
Excellent.
the problem is people think they have to be in communications to be a part of the newspaper.
I think we made it pretty clear. I sent out all kinds of documents to all the chairs, and Professor Barone kind of did the same thing and said, here, give this to your faculty. Persuasion assignments, prior to the election. So we just need to round back up again when we have, more time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so, kind of like if we would, start to grow and look at it more like that, we could get into a position where, if we have a section editor and we have multiple writers under, one section who are just kind of specializing in that section. So if we, because at the end of the day, Hack has like 22,000 students. And we should be writing to each one of those 22,000 students, because someone might not be interested in politics, but they're going to be very interested in robots, and we should have topics that we're writing about so we can include the attention of every student. So eventually, we could get to a position where we have 2 to 3 writers, including like a senior writer beneath of a section editor. So we're trying to make it, more of that pyramid model. So everyone knows their responsibility, who they have to, reach out to. So a writer is going to reach out to a section editor for help writing the paper. And then that's where we have our copy editor, Delaney, who's going to proof the paper and edit it, and just keeps kind of going up the chain so people know where to reach out to. Because, right now it kind of seems like, and of course, at the end of the day, right now it's very small. We only have like a dozen people. So if someone has a question, they ask in the chat, if someone answers, great. But if we're thinking long-term about how to establish, how things are going to happen from this point forward, we want to start thinking about long-term. And we want to bring, a bit more structure to it, so everyone feels more confident in their role, and they feel like, they're not getting overwhelmed. Because right now it just kind of seems like, everyone's getting overwhelmed, and, I don't want that. I don't want people to feel that way. So any thoughts, suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a good idea long term, to just try to get more hands on these projects. I think it's because you also can't really grow an organization in a day. So I do think we need to be thinking about what we're going to do in the meantime as well.
Yes.
I can say for myself, I simply don't have the time to write a staff editorial every week. It takes a lot of research, like a lot of research, and then the actual writing of it. So I'm wondering if well, I don't know if any of these ideas are good, but I'm just gonna throw them out there. Like maybe switching to bi-weekly, or maybe trying to cut down on how many articles we're trying to get out each week, or I don't know.
Something to think about is, one of the purposes of Matthew of offering, 2 or 3 ideas every week is that we can help you. You're not writing this on your own. If you give us 3 ideas, we could say, here's this, you write down some of the language, and it kind of, writes itself. That's sort of the idea that like the burden is not on you. Like we sort of say, well, here's what we think, here's our view, and you can copy a lot of this down, like that burden. And
Well,
if you became sort of current events, as opposed to trying to solve homelessness, which is just a social issue that's not really going to go away, without lots and lots of players, then you've got a more immediate dialogue that you can call from, and it won't be such a, heavy,
I mean,
you got to find a solution.
the problem is with people's offhanded comments is they don't work for research or sources. Like, yeah, you can get an aggregate of opinions and thoughts, but if it's supposed to be a well-researched article, that doesn't really help me much because that's the part that takes the longest. So like, I mean, there was the 1 week where I did do that, and it didn't cut down the time practically at all. So I don't know, that was just my experience. Another thought that I had was, I was reading that book that Dr. Teresina, you recommended. I was reading about the staff editorial in it, and it talked about how some student newspapers, their editorial board is just, there's, all the editors, but some have kind of a process to kind of join the editorial board. And I was wondering if something like that would help. Like if I had somebody else, or maybe multiple people, if there's interest, to kind of be a little bit more involved in the staff editorial process. But then that's starting to get back into the whole just growing the organization as a whole.
Mhm. What if we flipped it and we sent you 2 or 3 ideas? Everybody said, okay. Or we had 4 or 5 ideas coming your way. So here, Matthew, here's some things we think. And there was some research and a couple of sources to look at, as opposed to you doing everything on the front end.
That's possible. I mean, the thing is, I don't feel like I have a lack of ideas right now. I mean, some of it, like I don't have a whole lot of language on all the issues I'm talking about. But then there was also, because like the one that I wrote about food assistance that week, the poll that I had sent to the editors to try to gather some opinions, the most, or I guess the least controversial issue among the editors was actually public housing that week. But after I had done like 4 hours of research or so on it, I realized that the facts just didn't support the stance, or at least for the local area of Harrisburg, Lancaster, whatever, because in those areas, rent costs as a function of income hadn't been increasing. It had actually gone down. So I couldn't really make a strong case for it. So I ended up scrapping the whole thing. And like that sort of thing happens, when you're doing anything research-based. Sometimes when you do research, you realize you have to kind of change your focus.
Yeah, that's an awfully big topic for a brand new student paper to be trying to address in an editorial.
Sure.
So why don't we can
How's that?
focus on topics that maybe aren't so research intensive. And also, I mean, if you do need help, what we can do now for the time being, if you're planning on writing something that's research intensive for that week, we can like assign a writer to help you with that week. So, I mean, if they don't write something that week, we just say, all right, you, Matthew and Catherine are going to be, writing that, and whatever staff writer will be working under your direction as the op editor. So we can do something like that. But
yeah, that's possible.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but I think for the time being, like, like homelessness, I mean, these are, very big, very profound issues. But as much as we would love to,
Solve them.
read about them and solve them, right now with their limited resources, I think it's really just going to come down to that. It's just, we have to acknowledge that, we're not the New York Times. We don't have a multi-million-dollar budget and, hundreds and hundreds of staff members and researchers, interns from the local university, to really write a well-rounded piece on something like that. And as much as I would love to read, I read, stuff like that all the time. It's very important to be knowledgeable of that. Right now with our resources, I just don't think we have, we're able to do something like that.
Sure.
So, I mean, if, eventually we get to a point, where we are growing, we're under your direction as a section editor, we have, a writer, a couple writers under you who would be able to help you craft a piece like that, then sure, great, do that. But for right now, what we have, so I think for the op-eds, if we just want to start thinking a bit more small scale. And I know that Dr. T, she sent me some suggestions for the op-ed. I'm not sure if she emailed them to you as well, but I can forward that to you then.
I think,
after this meeting.
yeah, she sent me one and gave a fair amount of context for it, but yeah, I have that here.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to leave very, very soon because I have work at 4. But I wanted to run by like 2 things. First, my staff profile. I tried editing it and it doesn't come up for me at all, so I'm very behind on that. So I don't know what's wrong with that. And 2, I know it's kind of like late in the game for this week if we're still putting out the issue on Wednesday. But for the typhoon that hit the Philippines, if anybody wants to write about that, my great aunt and my great uncle, their homes were like destroyed during that. But I have like some nice pictures of it. So if anybody wants to write about that, I have pictures for that, or I can write something really small on that. If not, I can email you the pictures. So.
Someone add me back to chat then so that I can get emails. I don't have that.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that would
Yeah.
be important. Thanks, Catherine. Appreciate that. I think that would be important to come in.
Yeah, that sounds good. How did your story start this week, Catherine?
So all I had was the Thanksgiving playlist one, and then I also like threw in the Lancaster is hosting a poetry slam thing on Friday, so I just like threw in something about that.
Mhm.
And then for Love in the Time of COVID, I think I have writer's block for that one because I don't have motivation for that anymore. But I do have I talked to some people, so I have some sources for that if anybody else wants to write that. If not, it may still take me another week to write it.
And did you send those, at least your playlist and the poetry, to Delaney?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, did she provide feedback yet?
No, she said she's at work right now, but she'll get to it.
Okay, sure.
This is
And
what
speaking of which, that was one thing that Dr. T suggested, was pushing back the submission deadline from Friday until Sunday, just to give you guys some more time, which has kind of happened naturally anyways. It just kind of seems like most people have been submitting on Sunday. So we can do that now. Submission deadlines are now at Sunday. Actually, you said Delaney's at work. I guess my only concern with that would be overwhelming Delaney so soon before we post the edition. But for right now, let's just say Sunday, and then I can message Delaney and just kind of see if that will work for her. So.
And if something happens, don't wait till the day your story's due and say, "Hey, David, I can't make it." Okay, if you're starting to have trouble, reach out to David, reach out to me, we can help. Okay, don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm just, imagine like I'm just an encyclopedia. I can help you with something. I'm just another tool in your toolbox. That's my job. And David is he's the head honcho. So, but I don't want him to bear the burden all by himself. So just reach out. I mean, that's what happened in the newsroom. There's times I've had to call a boss and say, "I got everything but a quote. What do you want?" He's like, "I'm not going to read it till Monday." So just, oh, wow. Okay. So I'm going to pull my hair out, but that happens. So just be honest about it and say, "I'm having trouble with this. Does anybody have any ideas for me?" So, don't worry, but don't wait till the last minute, because then you've got yourself so stressed out and worked up that, you don't do your best work. So that's my advice.
All right, well, I'm going to go head out then. If anything important happens, just email me or send it in chat, okay?
Okay, well, we got the videos too.
Oh, yeah, that too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So I guess we can start talking this coming week. Story suggestions, if anyone has any.
I did write, I know we were talking about that sports spoof thing. So I did write something for that, and I got mixed reactions on it. I know some of you guys said it was funny, but I showed it to a friend who plays football, and she was like, "No one who reads football would actually find this funny," and so I don't know if it is or not. Um, so I don't know what to do with that, but it is there if there's anything we ever want to do with it.
Well, it's
Sure.
possible you could put that, in Matthew's section on like the opinion page, put it in forum, and make sure that it knows that it's an opinion, it's a column piece or something, treat it that way so it's not in with the news. That's one way to, if we get headshots in with column pieces, maybe Porter, you can help people get headshots in. I think that presents it like it's not a serious news, or sports piece. And I think that would make it a little more palatable to somebody, who reads sports and likes sports and, is a little bit more normal when it comes to sports.
Yeah, I didn't realize that a touchback wasn't a football player. So apparently that was one of the problems. I thought like
Lord.
touchback was also a player. So I don't know. It's really wrong.
Oh, child. Oh, child. It's a play. Okay. Yeah, but as long as it's presented properly, I think, because I think that's one of the problems with online media way back when, is that people were reading something and not realizing that they're reading a column as opposed to reading game coverage, and that's the kind of downfall of some, say reading even Yahoo Sports. Like, this is not right. Oh, like the column, got it. It wasn't labeled as such. So, maybe, see what Delaney and David think about it. But if it's, presented more like a column, Rachel's writings, Rachel's ramblings, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Okay, next.
Next. All right. Yeah. So do you have any for this week? Because I think we were holding off on the football one for the Thanksgiving edition, or at least the one right before the Thanksgiving edition.
Yeah, so for this week I wrote just the one about the recipes. I just pulled some recipes from old cookbooks. Dr. T, I know we were trying to figure out if I could actually do that, since it's copied verbatim. And then if it does work, Porter, I don't know, maybe we could talk about something that would work for a photo for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have to put disclaimers if you have an allergy, don't make this on there?
I would put, contains milk, contains nuts, or contains. I always put those. We have a section in the Sun Gazette called the Taste, and the editor always puts asterisks. This contains whatever. So, if you're a Mexican coffee, I might say, or if it's possible to substitute, a non-dairy, can use almond milk or something. Because sometimes you absolutely cannot, you just can't. It doesn't work. Something doesn't gel right. I have found the hard way. Can't use rice milk or rice pudding. Who would know that? I'm serious, and it smells awful. Oh my God. The recipe didn't say that, so but I would put disclaimers, because sometimes even people are home, even just being in the same room is something that people have an allergy to. It can cause issues. But I'm thinking if we have some visuals, if you have images of glasses and maybe mixing bowls, or just some sort of photo illustration could be really fun.
Absolutely, and I'll help you with that.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, let's see.
Hey, Ruth, did you, I was talking to Kayla and I got confused because she said she was working on the Alex Trebek piece, or that she needed to do it still. So I wrote it. Have you written one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I wrote one.
Awesome. If you need, I have some photos too, so I need to get you guys my contact information because I can help you with all that.
Yeah, I just wanted to put like a gallery on it, on the article, maybe of, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be a gallery, but just kind of pictures of him like over time or just something nice like that with it.
Absolutely. And then if you let me see your piece then too, I can pick stuff out that goes with it.
Yeah, okay. Delaney is reviewing it right now. Should I send that over when she's already done editing it? Yeah, like don't send the
Pre-edit.
original draft.
Yeah, I think once it's edited, it's good. Thank you.
Awesome. Ruth, are you thinking about anything for this coming week? Or did you not think about that yet? That's
I
okay.
mean, I know that there is the Thanksgiving poll game thing that I was thinking about, that we talked about last time. And I have that almost fully done, but I don't know if we wanted to hold off on that for closer to Thanksgiving or not. I mean, it wouldn't be a problem to publish it a little early. But I don't know. I guess that's up to.
It was the was it like which one is a real Thanksgiving song or Thanksgiving movie?
Yeah.
Okay. And was it the one poll or two polls?
It's
like, are they separate, like a movie and song?
No, I just had to have a movie one. I made it's like a little quiz game.
Okay.
I made it and I didn't know for sure what would be allowed in terms of that because it would have to be embedded, which I mean, I know how to do it. I just don't know what the limitations are in terms of like what we're allowed to use that is not directly from Snow, or if there are limitations on it. I mean, it's free to use, like it's totally open. It just has a little like watermark for the site that it's from. I guess, okay. I mean, I can like send an example of it, like send it in action if you wanted to review it that way before we post it.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And since you're doing the piece on Trebek this week, I mean, we can do the polls. I mean, since our next edition will be Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we can just hold off until then because I know that's when Rachel's posting hers. It's the next edition, so that can kind of be like our Thanksgiving edition. So it goes up on Wednesday, and then people can spend Wednesday, Thursday reading that edition, you know, when they're at home with their family and whatnot. So people are going to want some fun things to do. So awesome. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Just an idea for your editorial, just to make it a little easier on you guys. Do you want to do your editorial as sort of a group? Everybody list something that they're grateful for. Just do a round robin of all the writers. It's just a suggestion. You don't have to. You could either make it a column, a separate, you know, on the forum, as opposed to not take away from Matthew's editorial. But, you know, do you want to, David, you write an introduction. This is what our staff is. This is our first, you know, this is our first year as HawkEye Media. This is our voice, but this is something we're grateful for. It could be everything from, you know, each other, this pink pen, because, you know, pink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's very cute. Yeah, that would definitely be very good. Yeah, I think people would appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't know, but excellent. I get really tired of people saying 2020 sucks, 2020 sucks, and I'm like, you know, 3 of my students had their first children this year. You know, they graduated 10 years ago, and 2 of them are absolute miracles. You know, so I'm offended for them that there's just that negative energy that, you know, it kind of bothers me. So just things like that, you know, we have to count the blessings also.
Absolutely.
I like that idea.
And Rosanna, welcome. How are you?
Thank you.
You are a writer, right?
Yes. And I
Yes.
do photography and edit some photography. So if there's help needed in that, this is my first time, so I just kind of don't know my place and where I fit or how it all works yet.
No, it's okay.
Possibly. So, I mean, possibly I can look into that story in the Philippines. I'm not sure when that would need to be done by. But I can look into that. And like I said, if anybody else needs like help with any sort of photos or editing photos or anything, that's kind of easier for me to do also in between things.
So,
Go ahead, sorry.
What interests you? What do you like writing about? What's kind of your area that you like?
I'm sort of all over the place.
Okay.
I don't really have like, I'm just kind of trying to find like, I guess my voice, or just trying to find what I'm comfortable with.
Okay, sure. Well, this is a great place to find that out. So,
I did discuss it with Dr. T, and I watched the Zoom meeting from last week, and I know that a big part of that was getting the students involved and everybody, you know. So I didn't know if, I know we have opinion column, but I didn't know if maybe some sort of advice column to where people write in questions or advice, and if we get like a repeat question or problem, that maybe we can do something like that.
yes, that sounds awesome. So, you can write in suggestions.
Even like a lifestyle column in general, you know, life hacks,
Yeah.
hacks. You could take different topics, like here's tech tips, there's the things that are happening at Hack that are available, or there's, you know, maybe reference some of the involvement events, you know, like the Black Friday shopping event, and how to keep, you know, healthy on a budget, or how to keep
Right.
yourself looking good on the Zoom chat or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I always think it looked great. Then I'm like, oh my God, what happened? You know, that didn't go well.
Yeah, just something maybe a little more, yeah, so the community's involved, and it might be easier, maybe not easier, but for somebody like me who's kind of busy and everywhere to help
Yeah,
produce.
yeah. There's a lot of resources that people probably don't know about and could probably use.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And that would tie in with kind of what we're trying to do, which is get the students more involved that we're writing to.
Yeah.
So if we're just seeing quick solutions, you know, they can write in suggestions, write in questions. Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I wrote you down for that. Just
Okay.
kind of a direct, you can, you know, kind of point you in.
hey, David,
Rachel said,
Yeah.
Hawk.
would you be interested in, I can do a parenting in college column.
Parenting in college. Yes, that would be very nice.
There's a lot of us.
Yeah, because Hack, you know, offers a lot of
people
opportunities.
have kids.
Parents.
It might be rotating. Rosanna has kids. Bethany has
Yeah.
kids. You know, there might be something to rotate.
Yeah, it should kind of be, you know, personally how you are getting through college with kids.
Parenting in college with COVID. Oh my God.
Oh my.
What? Do you think something like that could be an editorial?
What'd you say?
Something like an editorial, maybe? Because if it's kind of opinion based.
Well, maybe
know.
a standing
It would
column.
be a column, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause you can't take a
All right.
position on having children. You got them. You know, I want to
Yeah,
oppose my kids. I oppose the
Someday.
twins. I want to oppose the twins.
No.
It didn't work. They're still there.
But it's definitely been the whole reason I like, we homeschooled before any of this started, so I'm always with our kids, and going to college in person was nice because it was actually quiet and no one needed anything. So I found like that's pretty helpful information. What to do, how to not lose your mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Where are we this week? So I'm not completely up to date on the timeline. So it's Monday, so we publish Wednesday.
Correct.
Yes, they will go up at 6 a.m. automatically on Wednesday, and we put that in just now.
we sort of still aim as if we're publishing for a print edition, and then sort of gradually we'll start trying to add in, updates and take more advantage of our, digital platform. But right now, since most people don't have the experience of, writing for publication, we're just aiming for very hard deadlines, and then we'll, gradually. Something to think about if Rosanna wants to work with photos, and we don't want to overwhelm Porter with all this, and then shifting Kayla to possibly being the website manager. Since we talked about specific photo campaigns, like a Photo Friday, maybe that might be someone to be in charge of, like the photo engagement. A leafers campaign, like I was saying, show us your leaves. We still have some here, believe it or not. Those spider maples are pretty amazing. But then maybe photos like show us what you're grateful, show us your gratitude, or ice dances. Let's see your ice sculptures. Just seasonal. Send us your photos, and us on the staff can sort of start it off, but then just get people to start showing, sending in their photos. I have the way the emails were envisioned to be was that everybody would be able to log in and have their own, HawkEye ads, HawkEye news, and it didn't work that way. They were all connected to me. And I said, well, that's ridiculous. It doesn't work at all. So now we're doing something completely different, but so it's going to take a little bit longer. But we can still use one of those and have photos sent through there. And I can then forward it to whoever, still be kind of secure. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's not how we envisioned it at all. But that's a possibility if we wanted to do, like a Photo Friday and have different sort of themes. I'd like to see that happen sooner, than later, and have maybe one person who's always in charge of processing those and saying, this is from Mitchell Carson, and he lives in, in Dauphin County, and this is what he captured, and if he did something in particular or used a filter or whatever it was, any sort of technique, or he just happened to be walking by and he fell on the way down, and he stopped to shut little picture. So.
All right, cool. I can reach out to Garrett too, or Professor Dorsett, and have him put something out to all the photography students.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I have 2 ideas for the alumni that we were talking about, or you guys were talking about. I just watched the videos. Where are my notes? We have a Hack alumni. I don't know where this went. Let me see. His name's Timothy DeFore, and he's a member of the Hack Foundation board who was elected to Auditor General in November.
Yes, he was.
And he is the first person of color to ever win a statewide election in the state.
You're kidding me.
No. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we also have Professor Dorsett's wife's cousin. I know.
I'm sorry.
She is a Hack alumni, but she's a photography major, Hack alumni, and she actually works for National Geographic now.
Oh my.
So there's some cool, yeah, she works overseas, but so those are 2 pretty cool. But I was thinking DeFore's pretty big deal since, no person of color has ever won in Pennsylvania in a statewide election.
That's crazy.
I know.
We can do a kind of like just like a story just talking about, him kind of starting from the hack, and then ascending to such a high position in Pennsylvania state politics. Or if we're able to get an interview with him, that would be kind of cool.
Of course we will. You know it.
Yeah, so. And that one National Geographic person, that would be pretty cool too. Everyone loves National Geographic. So I mean, if we can potentially get 2 interviews. Oh, what was that?
Does anyone want to try to interview him, or I don't know, anyone?
Rachel, do you want that one?
Sure. Thinking for this upcoming week or after a break. What timeline were you thinking for that?
Part of me says that would be great for our launch edition. I don't know. Which we have to talk about.
Our launch edition?
Well, we need to talk about that in a moment, but I'm just, if we want some really, really good content, I think having at least one alum in the launch edition would be pretty spectacular. You know, give that person a lot of coverage.
But yeah, I'd be happy to help to write that or help write that or whatever, however that timeline works.
Okay.
Oh, and I wanted to share, Porter, what you said reminded me. Tomorrow at 12, there's an SGA event that I was telling Dr. T about, but they're telling the story of someone who was a single mother from Harrisburg who started at HEC, and I believe she ended up graduating from Yale University. So that could also be a very interesting story to cover. So that's tomorrow at 12 if anyone wants the Zoom link for that.
It's
That's
amazing.
fine. Yeah, I'll totally check it out.
That's true. I think the angle should kind of be the opportunities HAC provides. So.
Okay, David, we totally hijacked your plan to build the news budget. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, this is all great stuff.
Lynn, can I raise my questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so the dean and I and Professor Barone have been working, and I think we won. Okay, I think we won this. And poor Kayla, because she's been waiting for me to fight the social media battle. And I think we won, because they're like, oh, just use their own Twitter, use your own. We're like, no. And then finally, you know, number one, we can't archive content. Number two, safety. And three, Professor Barone, she just went. So, boy, talk about an edge in her voice. You could cut off a hunk of cheese with that. So I think we got it. But they said that they are willing to do, all kinds of marketing. We just need to establish what timeline and when we want the official launch. So my question, I have two questions then. Do we want to have a welcome back edition for spring semester? And so we start classes on January 19th. So it's the day after Martin Luther King Day. Do you want to publish a welcome back on January 13th? So that's the week before classes begin. And then the content would be kind of featurey puffy, these are how to get your books, how to register, deadlines, sort of, I call it evergreen, the stuff that you would publish every semester, make it as useful. Again, we've always talked about, HawkEye Media being a clearinghouse, one place for students to go for everything, so just sort of these, I call them puff pieces, but just ultimately very, very useful. What's new this semester? Do you need technology? How to do this? Books, I mean, just how, just a little bit of everything. What's new, those types of things. Second, and then if we do that on the 13th, then do you want our big launch to be 2 weeks later? Because if that's the case, then we tell marketing that they will be, promoting, hey, don't forget this, do this. We'll do that ribbon cutting thing we were talking about, which I can't imagine how that's going to happen. But, I think Wendy Brubaker will help us do that. And we'll have a little profile, and we'll have probably little video recordings, at least from David, maybe a couple others, hey, welcome to HawkEye. We're very happy to be here and, do this. They want you. They want your voice. They want your faces. This is us. Come join us. Look what we're doing. We're so happy to be here.
I have an idea for that.
Pardon me?
I said I have an idea for that.
Okay. I have my 221, all 221 of them. They're composing as part of their class assignment some of the public relations press releases and all this. I don't think they're going to be great, but it also gets 12 of them engaged in this event, and we have to submit, Professor Barone and I have to submit a lot of materials for this, but it's a start. So I want to, involve as many students as possible in this production. So I just want you to think about those two questions. Do you want to do welcome back the week before? And so we need just to be able to tell our brokers, sell ads for this. And then do you want our launch, our hoopla, to be, 2 weeks after? So that would be like the second week of classes. I think it's a great recruitment option as well, but it's, we're here and tell us your news and we're going to do our best for you. So those are the dates. And the third unrelated question, do you want me to try to get you inauguration credentials? Okay, so my prior students, we were at
Yes.
the Obama inauguration. I think there's going to be a lot of virtual stuff, so I don't think it's going to be difficult, but you're Harrisburg, you're not that far away, it's Pennsylvania, come on. Joe's a Pennsylvania person, so.
I
and they
want to
want
photograph
college
it.
students, and we're going to hold the big signs that cancel student debt. That's what's trending on Twitter today.
Yeah.
It
That
doesn't
would be-
fit you, I'm sorry to say.
If anyone else wants to do the writing aspect,
Pardon?
I totally want to be involved with the photos.
Yeah, I would definitely read something for the inauguration. I know I keep reading like contradicting things. Some people are saying it might just be a small event in the Capitol. Some people are saying, no, they're going to do the full thing. I think since Biden was elected, I mean, it's just difficult imagining they're going to have millions of people just unrestricted right there, in the National Mall.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows?
Do you want to team up on that, David?
Yes, definitely.
All right, absolutely.
That is. I believe the inauguration is on the 20th, and then our big launch edition, would that be the 25th then? Or no, my bad. I'm looking at November.
Yes,
No, that would be on a Wednesday,
maybe the 27th.
27th. Okay. So 1 week away, or 1 week out.
Yeah. So I didn't want to do it the first week. I didn't want to kind of get lost on all the busyness and just be one more, message, but maybe the second week, like, hey, come hang out with us, read us, do things. But, marketing and the other people, they need time, and so we'll be able to have our own Facebook page affiliated, with Hack, as opposed to just being a group and like, I was just like arguing security, when I teach multimedia, I tell my students they have to have a WordPress site. Don't put anything associated with your name or your initials. And somebody always does. And we always get a stalker. So I'm like, absolutely not. We're not using their own anything. And they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, that's why you pay me, And then we can't archive content. And then Professor Brown just went. Oh my God. It was good. So I think the only one we're arguing for still is Instagram. But I keep saying, well, since we're, not taking campus photos of events, we can wait and kind of weasel our way in that one. But so there we are. Kayla, we haven't heard from you. What do you think about, I don't know if David had talked to you about being a website manager and things like that.
Nobody told me about that. I just heard at this meeting.
Yeah, I didn't reach out to Kayla yet. I just wanted to kind of, put the idea out there. Yeah, we had, I mentioned your name. It would just kind of be someone who would just kind of be in charge of the website, metadating social media, comments, that type of thing. So at least we have, just someone in charge of all of that. And so, right, if you don't want to do it, I just mentioned your name. So it's completely up to you. And we can, we can chat and just kind of talk about what it would entail. So you don't have to decide right now. We're not starting it right now. So. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it builds on the same skills that you are using as, social media editor, but it expands them a little bit and gives you more control over the whole package. So that's, I think, why David brought up your name, but just want to make sure you know that that's a possibility. I think that's my list. Okay, so what was Catherine saying about the staff profiles? Something happening?
I think she said that she couldn't log in. I think it might have been something like they didn't give her access to that. Rachel, did you have a problem when you submitted yours?
No, mine worked.
I couldn't edit mine when I tried to write a staff profile. Like, it wouldn't let me edit my own name, and it just was trying to get me to make a new profile that was just me again. But
Yeah, there was something happening, and I think it might have been when like some of us have published our profiles, and then I don't know if Amanda tried to take them back to draft or something. Because then whenever I tried to put my name in, it was like, no, you don't exist. So something happened.
yeah, mine does that too. Tells me that that staff writer does not exist, but then it lets me put it anyways.
Yeah, something happened because I noticed I just went in to see what was happening. I wanted to see if, because some people had their headshots in, and then all of a sudden everybody was in the trash. I'm like, well, how did that happen? You know, like, so.
We might just have to reach out to the Snow support desk again. Because, I mean, they helped out the last time when we didn't know about the breaking news banner.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think now you can do up to, I think I set it at 12.
Yeah.
Go wild. You know. That's my list.
Where are we? I know, because we're figuring out the website editor or manager. What about with breaking news now? Are we doing that, or?
We're trying to. That was kind of my intention with, having someone dedicated to running the website. Because right now it's just kind of like if something's breaking. We haven't really utilized the breaking news banner too much. I only added some stuff a couple days ago. But ideally, kind of the way I envisioned it was the website manager would kind of be in charge of putting that stuff on there. But if people see like breaking news stuff, they're like, oh, this is happening. They could, if Kayla is the website manager, they can just send it to her and she can put that stuff up. But I mean, if someone has another suggestion.
No, I just saw that Trump just started selling, actually selling the parts of the refuge in Alaska for drilling. So
Yeah.
kind of like the last month effort, like, hey, let's get all these sold and in place so that they can drill the Alaskan refuge. So I did, but I don't want to step on any toes. I don't know like about putting that up or.
Yeah, I mean, right now we don't we don't have a website manager right now. But the reason why we want that was, so people weren't stepping on someone else's toes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
who's in charge of putting up the breaking news. And we never really discussed that. But I mean, if you want to add something, I mean, you can go ahead until we get the thing. Just let me know before you do, though. But if you want to do that until we get a website manager situated, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because that would be that particular item, just because Pennsylvania is involved in, oil and gas and utilities in general. Because I could totally see that people in Pennsylvania would be, or Pennsylvania-based companies would be bidding on some of those sites. I think he's selling sites. I think that's the correct word. So, but I could see that would be of interest to people in Pennsylvania.
Do you want me to go ahead and put that up, David?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Quick questions.
Yeah.
So, Dr. T, you were talking about the calendar thing. Are we putting it into an actual calendar, or are we putting events into an article and putting it on the website?
David and I were thinking an actual calendar.
Okay, so how would we go about that?
I believe we have a calendar function on Snow. Am I correct?
No, we don't, but I talked to them about that today, and it's just a plugin that I can put in and get one up on it.
Okay, there we go. There's your answer, Kayla. Because I know we had my last paper, we had a calendar. And so it was kind of like how D2L has one. So it was just kind of a running. So it would say,
Yeah.
oh, today, Zoom, Chef Tom, today, tap dancing, stuff like that.
And another thing, I am considering skipping next semester. I'm considering taking a semester off. Would I still be a part of this or not?
I don't know, because we don't have any requirements. I would have to inquire.
Cool.
I would hate to lose it.
I'm only considering it. It's not definite yet, so.
Well, if I said you'd have to leave, maybe then you'd stay enrolled, right?
I don't know about that.
Kidding. Yeah, I don't know that we have any requirements. Like we don't have any prereqs. I don't know that we even said somebody has to be enrolled in a certain number of hours. I need to check because I didn't set this up. They brought me in. I really hate to lose you.
This semester has just been a drag.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, that could actually be a potential story idea, is just how students are coping with the online classes. Because I know like the administration has to kind of play off like, oh, classes are doing wonderful, blah, blah, blah. But like a lot of students aren't doing too well. And, professors are realizing that, especially with the math classes, a lot of students it's difficult for them. So I think having a story about how students are actually handling these classes, not just how the administration is saying students are handling them. Because, the administration is not going to come out and say, oh, people hate these classes and they're paying the same amount, but, we're not going to do anything. So we can do something like that. And of course, Kayla, I don't know if maybe that's the reason or not, but I mean, maybe if we can get, some input from you. But we can talk about that at a later date.
Okay.
So.
I think it would be good to write about what some struggles students are having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you want us to? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rachel.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
No, I didn't really go. I talk all the time.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I don't know how like controversial or whatever we want to get as far as administration, but my advisor, or I know a lot of the professors who are virtual, and at least one of them has said that they feel like virtual, like just online learning, not remote, but virtual as a whole, has been kind of suffering. Like that it's not as widely maybe accepted or funded or whatever. And she was like, and I would be happy to talk to you all and we can get an article out about that. And I was like, I don't know how far we want to go with that, but just to let you know, there's certain professors who might be willing to share as well, but I don't really know what the rules are on that. But just because she told me that, I was like, I should probably pass that on. So I did, but do whatever you want with it.
I think it'd be a great article if we could get a variety of students, because I know some students who have social anxiety that it helps them thrive a little bit. And I know some who are not doing as well. I've had some students, like there was COVID in their family, so like they were locked in the basement because they had to quarantine to keep somebody safe, and they just went absolutely crazy. I mean, it just magnified, the isolation. Others were like, well, this works out better because there's 6 kids in the family, and so having to isolate, it helped me actually do my homework. I don't have 5 little ones running and jumping on top of me. They think it's fun. I'm in class. They don't understand. Like it's just such a range of experiences. And I have one student, she has to leave in the middle of our 8:30 class to drive her brother to school. Because her parents have to leave. I mean, it's just I don't know how she makes it. She's doing fine, but I mean, she has to literally have her phone on speaker while she's driving her little brother to school. I mean, the challenges that people have are just, it's just a range. I can't imagine. And then you see, oh, sorry, can you repeat? I can't hear because the garbage truck just went by. I'm like, yeah, I know, me too. There goes the bus. Like, I could scream at my neighbor for, mowing his lawn at 11 o'clock. He's like, I go to work at 3. What do you want me to do? I'm like, yeah, shift workers. I mean, it's just, just weird things that, it's an experience. We won't forget this. Your grandkids are going to ask you about it. Trust me.
So I was gonna say, I know you wanted to try and wrap it up at a decent time, but do we like nailed down tasks and their due dates and what we're doing right now. Like, what do you need by, I guess it would be tomorrow.
Are you set for this edition, David?
Yeah, we should be all set.
All right. I'm here if you need help with anything.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you've been great help, Porter. Yeah, it's really nice to have you back.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're definitely on top of everything, which is great. So
She's kind of angry. She's angry with the job, man.
I have a high-risk kid, so I'm literally stuck in the house all the time. I have a son with cystic fibrosis, so yeah, we're not going out. And so this is my sanity. Works. But yeah, due to that, I do have a lot of time, so no one feel bad if you need a story or photos or anything. Like, I am more than happy to help out wherever is needed.
awesome. Awesome. That's great.
So help Rachel with her recipe photos.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got the invitation to edit, but I'm not in. My Google account isn't linked to that, so I can't see it. But Rachel definitely. If maybe David, if you could just send me everyone's contact information.
Okay.
Do we have that? Do we have like a master list of where we can get in touch with each other?
There was an email that had that. I'll see if I can find that. If not, I'll reach out to Dr. T. See if
I
you
still
can
have it. Also, I
Oh,
have
you
the
do?
chat saved if you want me to send it to you, because I need to change my email for that anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put my email in the chat.
Well, Rachel, do I need to change you on D2L?
I don't know. I assume I'm logged in as a student on there,
Okay,
but I'm not sure.
I'll check.
Matthew, you too. If you want help, let me know.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I put my email in there.
Okay.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, this
Um,
testing thing and Thanksgiving has just got me absolutely crazy. So that was a personal, but academic rant.
My 91-year-old grandma, listen, this is crazy to me, and I don't know if it's a story or not, but my 91-year-old grandma, she was supposed to have a procedure done on Tuesday, and she lives in Abbottstown, but she went to WellSpan, and because they have to do a pre-surgical COVID test before they clear you for surgery, and she got her COVID testing done, and then last night at like 11 at night, my uncle, who lives right next to her, was like, oh, well, we should see, like, was checking her medical record. And when he opened it up, there was a message in her chart saying that she had tested positive for COVID
Oh my God.
on Friday. She had tested positive on Friday. That's when they got the results, Friday night. No one called, emailed, nothing. It just went to her medical chart. So if she had gone to church, she would have exposed the entire church. Like, I'm just so blown away that no one thought to call and instead just let it show up in her record.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that kind of blew my mind. I'm like, well, she's 91. You think you could like call her right away and be like, hey, her O2 stats are 88.
Oh,
Like, yeah, and no one called. I'm just still working through the mind blowing aspect of that. So it's interesting.
I'm sorry to hear that.
See what happens. Okay. Well, like I said, if anyone, I know David left, if anyone needs me, please reach out. I'm bored.